So the details on this one, whereas they're pretty gosh darn good on the Scott Alexander piece here, they are definitely darned good on this Adam Johnson piece. The details right around here where the thruster glues in, all these little knickknacks right on the corner there. I really hope this is coming in good focus too as well. It seems to be on the LCD monitor. But certainly, I mean, this is just really gorgeous stuff that could probably be achieved on this size of model. However, that's really getting down there as far as detail goes, and when you start losing detail versus size limitations at all. Like I mentioned about having to clean all the extra crud off of some of the seams here, it really just doesn't happen with Captain Cardboard at all. But different model makers, different molds, different techniques, different everything, so that's the way that is. There's a little bit of something going on there that'll have to be cleaned out. But, oh, and then for the bottom here, these key in, and so I did, so initially, before I glued these down and sealed them in, you can see how this one notches around a little. These are keyed so that you put them down, twist them, and they lock kind of in place because they're a really tight fit, and then you screw or glue them, and then they're definitely in place. But these would have held even without the glues and the screws there holding them in right now. Except for, of course, these octagon pieces, and we'll definitely do a side-by-side of those coming up. But the bottom here has various keys, as does this one as well. It doesn't look like any of these would necessarily lock the piece down. However, there's a lot of cleaning to do on this one before I can actually test that out. I think that's mostly it here. The details, like I said, they're just truly beyond belief. They're subtle, they're everywhere, they're exceptionally well done. And due to the source, I'm going to have to also throw in there just about as accurate as possibly can be. Definitely really nice, subtle everything everywhere. And of course, definitely this one too, for the size and the details that are there that are paid attention to, which really show off in the engines there. And let's take a look at those now while I set a couple up. I only pulled one out of these. But let's see if I can get a good place to look at this. So again, the details, they're really just amazing overall. So the vague shapes are pretty much going to be generally similar, but whereas you got the accurate on the right, you've got the flavor on the left. So even the canisters there, there's just so much more detail on the AJA model, which is not to say that some of the details on this piece don't get down there nice and pretty. Whereas on this piece, that design completely diverges, but there could be a few pieces that need to be glued in because there's a very large bag of very small parts hanging around. So again, the flavor is definitely there on the Captain Cardboard, and really damn nice and intricate over here on the AJA. And as to minor quibbling details, well, definitely the Captain Cardboard engines could stand an upgrade by doing these interior paneling, if that's coming through on the camera there on this one. That's definitely a really nice touch and would add a lot to this. That's also something you could do yourself if you're also inclined, and you have the proper scribing and steady hands and all that. Don't know if there's much more else to say, really. It comes down to a couple choices for you, which is price and display space, really. Do you have the space to put a basketball on a stand with possible affectations around it, nameplates, whatever? Or do you want something much closer to, what is that, a really large grapefruit or a melon of some kind? So that's definitely a really major factor. It could be like 180 plus, somewhere in there. Whereas the Adam Johnson, if it is 180 for the Captain Cardboard, it's less than twice as much, but awful darn close to get the AJA shipped to you. So those are really the two big considerations, I think, as it comes down to, because that's a lot of model, and having a couple different scales. If I had a Stargazer here, that's 1/144th, so that's again not quite half as small as this one. And then when the eventual Captain Cardboard 15-inch comes along, that's going to be almost a third as big as this one. So having all four side by side would definitely be something to see, at least as much as you could fit that sort of thing together. And of course the actual studio model was 36 inches across, which is just a monster. This table is just about 40 inches, so it would essentially fill the entire thing. So that's a look at both of these, and hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you later. See ya. The one last thing I'll note is if you decide to put the Captain Cardboard Aries together early on and then you don't get to it for a long time, the nice thing is it builds into these three sub-assemblies. The walls here, of which are taped up to that one, these just come apart as well, though they're probably better in their housing for the actual extra protection. However, all these pieces, the great news is, do fit along with the Adam Johnson kit. So if you do already own the Captain Cardboard, you'll definitely be able to pack it all the way into one nice single convenient box. Thanks for watching. See ya. Of course, I did completely forget about these parts, and you definitely can't build the model without them. So I've taped them into this bag all nice and sealed off, and fitting them is definitely going to be a little bit of a trick, but I think it'll work out. And this wound up slotting in really nice down there, and it's got enough room that it wants to bounce away, and it's just enough room for the cowlings not to be destroyed.